So I would like to start with Tango. The leading actress, she's an amazing, beautiful girl. That she really gives lots of emotion to everyone. She's a gift. Why do you decide to not let her talk ever?
I decided her to not talk because in the case she don't want to communicate with this society anymore. Like she wants to go inside her, and when there are a lot of pressure, like mental pressure, she just want to be, she just want to serve out and go out somewhere else from all of these her problems. Like I know that it could seem not that big problem for someone, but mostly little petty things leads us for something big, and that's why I've chosen her to not talk.
She doesn't talk, but people around her talks a lot. And they wants to say, you have to do this and that. But you choose Tango as the title of your work. It remembers me to the music, so how music is important to her and to you, to your story.
Music is important because of I think tango for her is something like private dance that could dance when she could dance when she is alone, like from all of these people, and but the most important song for me was the song that in the final scene, because the lyrics of this song impressed me to write this story. Like it's not my own story, but it's a story of my friends, my sisters, and like we have some as a girls have some secrets sharing, and I've heard a lot from girls, and it's really not easy when you don't have people to share the secrets with you, and you should keep it inside. And that's why I've chosen to show it with this song, leading this song.
No, your story is really funny. I have to say, one of the most funny of the whole festival. Why the idea, the central idea of this movie, it's all around a broken mattress, very old broken mattress. How did you come out with this idea?
Well, I didn't write the movie, but the mattress, as much as it is the subject, but it is not really the subject. It is not really the focus. The focus is really on poverty. You know what I mean? So for me, the script was just beautiful because it dealt with poverty in ways that we don't look at poverty. You know, like we can all be poor, but our needs are different. We can all be in the same ghetto, the same slum, the same township, but our needs are different. And that's one thing that I liked about the script, that it portrayed that, it showed the difference between poor people. You know what I mean? Yeah.
How did you choose the location? Because even those houses empty with nothing, the casting is amazing. The mother, it's a particular mother. She's a disaster.
The casting, well, it was very easy because, and the location, because the person that wrote it, Prince comes from that location, Kliptown, and he wrote it about the people in Kliptown. So as a director, I didn't want to do the injustice of taking the story away from the township and shooting it in a different township. I wanted to keep it in the same township that it was written for and get actors in that area who've never acted before. So all of those people you're seeing acting there, it was their first time acting. We did a lot of script workshops and acting workshops before we shot the movie, just to get them into training, and you know what I mean. So everyone there, first time actor.
Did you had any problem shooting there?
Because we didn't have a budget. I think the budget was like 150 euros, and I remember one time we were shooting and there was this guy playing music very loud, and I went to him like, yo, can you please lower the music down? And he said, yeah, I will, but pay me. It's like, damn, I mean, you should see even our lunch, you can't even afford that, but it was like, okay, it's fine, play it louder then. I'm not gonna pay you, but those are the kind of challenges that we had, but also there were people in the community also who were very helpful, like the house that we shoot in, the warehouse that we shoot at, we got them for free from people in the community. So as much as there were people trying to disturb us, but there were also people who were for us,
Talking about location, in your movie, there's a character saying your house is poor looking, something like this. But I noticed that there's a Leonardo da Vinci painting on her closet. Yeah. He has any particular meaning that because of the room is empty, but there are only very few objects. Can you describe how do you pick up them?
There is no big particular meaning, but her room looks like her own world, and it's a lot different from the room of your schoolmate or classmate who's sitting near her, and he doesn't even interested in philosophy or arts. Like he just a guy who not interested in it, and I want to my character be different from they who is around her.
I love the color you choose from the room, the use of the light, and I'm really curious if you can explain how do you shoot the scene in the stairs. It seems a very complex scene to shoot, or is it something that you do every day? Okay, can you translate for us, please?
It wasn't that hard to shoot the film, and like the hardest was the scene with the stairs, when the rolling stairs. Yes, we shot it with drone, and also we don't have a big budget. Like we all worked for the one idea to shoot the film. Currently it's our student job, and it wasn't that hard to shoot.
Congratulations! Wow.
No. Seems to watch your movie, you talk about poverty, real poverty, heavy one. But it seems to be that all those kids, all those guys, they find a way to survive or to make their life, even if the parents are not there. They don't know how to educate the kids. They adjust themselves, and they always find a way to keep on going. What do you think about it?
I think what poverty does to a person is it teaches you to survive. Like, especially like where I come from, like everyone tries to survive, and we survive differently. Some will survive through a dream that they have. They want to be a soccer star, they want to be a film director, they want to be a hip-hop artist, they want to do, you know what I mean? And then some will survive through alcohol, some will survive through drugs, you know what I mean? But in poverty, everyone is just trying to survive, you know? So their mother is also trying to survive the poverty. She can't cater for the kids, so she escapes using alcohol so that she now doesn't have to face the kids, you know what I mean? So she can just drink herself and black out, and now she doesn't have to worry about what the kid's gonna eat. That's her survival tactic, you know. So everyone in poverty, I've learned, everyone tries to survive differently.
How big and realistic is the problem in your country, in your town?
Poverty? Well, it's a South African thing. It's not just my township. And the township that I shot the movie at is not my township. And my township has different struggles than that township. You know what I mean? So, but poverty in South Africa exists in any township. The only places where you might find less poverty is in town, and where you might find no poverty is in suburbs. But there's no township in South Africa that you can walk into and find that there's no poverty. Every township, and it was created like that. Like the old government created townships so that black people can be there and be far away from schools, best healthcare systems, all the best stuff. You know, yeah, you know what I mean? So it was created for us to really not survive. You know, so that was the aim of the township, for people, for black people to not survive in them, you know, yeah.
I would like to ask you another question about the story of your movie. You told that is a story of different people you know, maybe your sister, and there's a couple of lines that explain she said because there's rumors in her school she slept with a guy, and there's also a video with her fighting. Maybe it's not the main issue of your story, but it introduced the next movie we are going to watch in half an hour. So I'm asking you if it's something that it happens for real, or is just an idea of something happens in the school, so you write the story, or you take inspiration from reality?
No, it happened, like the story of my friend. We were studying at college, and there was a rumor. I can't say if there was something between her and him, but there were rumor, and there were even teachers who gave her lower points because of this rumor. Like, I think it's nonsense. Like, treat people like that, and she was like loser in school, and I think and I was inspired by her story, and that's why I've choose to shoot this story.
Now shoot a movie which is the opposite about the digital world. In your movie, we never see a mobile phone, internet connection, an antenna. Why?
Okay, I'll be lying if I said that's the reality in the township. I'll be lying. But it is a reality for certain people. You know what I mean? Like I said, we can all be in poverty. Like, I don't have money, like even in my country, but I've got a smartphone, but there's someone in the same position that I am who can't afford a smartphone and has something else that I don't have. You know what I mean? So for my characters, I chose to take those things away from them. The glue guy that's always smoking glue, he doesn't need it. He does not need a phone. All he needs is a roof on top of his head. You know what I mean? That's all he needs, a roof on top of his head, you know what I mean? So that's why I chose to take those things away from my characters, because I felt they didn't need them. But it is not the reality for everyone in the township, but it is a reality for certain people.
Well, I want to say thank you for both of you making such different but necessary stories about what it is to struggle from all forms of narratives as a young person. My question one is for Neo. It was such refreshing to see the mercy of the aunt coming over with food, the mercy of the guy in the shop giving the young boy bread, which I find that richness, right? It's not currency. But what made you put those kind of merciful people in those stories? Is it because do you see it in your daily life? Does it exist? Because oftentimes you see those like third world country films or African films with very zero mercy, and oftentimes that mercy comes from the outside world.
Yeah.
So I would like to know what that was like for you writing that story. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Mercy, ne? I believe that there are a lot of good people out there. Like I believe everyone is a good person, but sometimes we choose not to be good people. But everyone is a good person, you know. And for me, also, why I did that, it was also to try and what's the correct word I'm looking for? Insinuate the idea, if that's the correct word, like to enforce that idea on whoever is watching it, to see that, yo, when someone else is struggling, you can reach out and help them. Because where I come from, in South Africa, in the townships, it's always like every person for themselves. Ne? But now and then you'll find that one person who's very helpful in the township. But it's always that one person. And I want to create a narrative whereby everyone in the township is helping everyone. Because Africa comes from a whole thing of it takes a village to raise your kid. But now, like it takes a village to destroy your kid. You know what I mean? So that's where Africa is at the moment. And I'm just trying to change that narrative. And to show it in a positive way as well, like, you know what I mean? Like, show that you can still help people, you know?
Thanks to both of you and to all the films. I just want to know a little bit more about the actors themselves. You said it was the first time that they were acting, so what kind of changes did they go through, you know, as they were saying that lines, or as they were just acting? And also, how did they provide a voice to also to those lines, to the story?
So, you know what's interesting about this movie? We started making it in 2017. Ne? That's the first time we shot it. And we shot it 2017 and 2018. And because we were shooting, because we didn't have money, so we would come in on one day, shoot, come back after 6 months, shoot again. So within 2017 and 18, when I sat down and started editing, I realized that, damn, the continuity is always off with the crippled kid. Because he's not crippled, he's acting crippled, you know, he's acting disabled. And I noticed that the continuity was very off. And then that made me realize that I rushed to shoot the movie. I rushed to shoot the movie because I wanted to have this amazing product, but I never thought about having acting workshops. It never kicked into my mind. As much as I knew that they've never acted before, but it never kicked into my mind that I need to kind of train them. And then come this year, when I realized that I couldn't do anything about it, come this year, and then I saved up some money, and then within 2 days, before the 2 days of shoot, we did like almost every weekend. I'll go to the township, and we had this hall that they gave us, and every weekend we'll just go in and just practice. Like I spend time, especially with the disabled kid. I spent so much time with him because I wanted him to understand what it means to be in character and staying in character. You know what I mean? So, and it worked, it paid out so well that a lot of people watch it and they think these people are like professional actors in South Africa. And I'm just hoping that this will kickstart most of their careers, actually all of their careers, you know what I mean? But it was realizing that we need those script workshops, we need those acting workshops, you know what I mean? And that has now put me in a place where I'll never shoot any movie in my life without rehearsing it or anything like that. I've seen the importance of rehearsing with your actors and not just stepping into set and shooting.
It's amazing talking about the power of narration, cinematographic narration. Why did you choose to make a movie to tell a story? There is many artistic, creative way to tell a story, but why you choose to make a film? This is for both of you.
Okay, you wanna go first?
I think filming is something, like film, something that contains all of this, like music, dancing, acting, even drawings. That's why I've choose to show it as a film. Like when I was graduating the college, I was studied for interpreter, but it wasn't my choice. My parents thought that it would be better if I will be an interpreter. We have a lot of discussings. They don't want me go to art, and the thing that art is something not. In art in Kazakhstan, you can earn a lot of money. And that's why they think that it's not a good way to. And mostly there is some stereotype, like women in art is like I can explain it. Yes, and it's not a good thing. Like, who you gonna marry then when you are in art? Like you will have some screenings, like shootings. You won't be at home. But I've entered to the academy, and it's my student job. So that's why I think that filmmaking is something that contains all genres of art. Mostly nowadays, there are so many experimental films.
If we look at the world today, everyone has something to complain about, né? But they do nothing about it. They just complain. Especially now with social media, people will take to Twitter and rant and rant and rant, but do nothing. They're just sitting on the couch, just tweeting. And for me, film is my voice. Instead of me tweeting, I'll make a movie about that subject. Like my next film that I'm currently working on right now, it's about the current situation in South Africa, where we're having a lot of women disappearing, and some not found, and some being found dead, or you know what I mean? It's a real problem. So that's what I'm currently working on right now, because it doesn't make sense for me to be on Twitter and talking about, yo, government, you need to do this, I think it's much better when you put it on a bigger screen. I think it has more impact when people see a problem on a bigger screen, than on a tweet. That's what I think.
You did a beautiful answer. This is the first time that your movie is on screen, if I'm not wrong. How does it feel to see in a big screen with an audience in Florence? Isn't it exciting? Do you expect that?
Yeah, I know. Like, this is the biggest crowd I've ever gotten. Yeah, and I'm aware that some people left. You know what I mean? So it was even bigger than this. But I'm very thankful for everyone that came here. I'm very, very thankful for everyone that took the time to watch my work. Because as artists, that's what we aspire for. We aspire that we want to do this, and I think she will agree with me. We want to do this beautiful art so that we can share with the world. So I'm glad that I could share it, and I'm glad that everyone here received it.
Thank you so much for sharing with us in this festival all your stories.